Welcome to the end. This is it. The end of the world as we know it. The end of time when society has collapsed and I'm one of the few people left on this earth. Or not. This is me. I'm the gardener gone wild. And today I'm at a ruined building. I'm also at Island Bay, and that is a taupata. I do love how the Elysium, that's these little white flowers here, are just growing along this little sand dune. I don't like all the rubbish in amongst it though. That is not nice. I'm trying not to get it in shot. So what we have here are the old public toilets of Island Bay. See, this is the gentleman entrance. And that's a door, and that's a window, and that is a downpipe that kind of goes down to nowhere. So as you can see, basically they got rid of a roof and just left this to be claimed by a sand dune. And the sand dune has done that job excellently. As you see across the road, and actually on the road, it's not the right section, but we have the infamous Island Bay Cycleway, which I'll show you in a minute. I won't show you the Island Bay Cycleway right now, because that island is much more interesting, and so is this beach. This is one of Greater Wellington Regional Council's double-decker electric buses. As you can see, there is only one right over here, and there aren't many in the fleet. The trolley bus network was in fact replaced by mostly diesel buses. How cool is that? Everyone loves a bit more fuel burning and pollution. But just have that aside, we've got this lovely beach and lots and lots of seaweed. As you can see, the rocky beach further out there, well, it's not a rocky beach, it's a sandy beach, but the rocky conditions out in the sea there are ideal for all this seaweed to grow and wash up on the beach. And look what we have here, Island Bay's new seawall. Since the really neat old one was destroyed by some very strong tides a few years ago, they've gone along and replaced it with a new one. And I think the new one's a bit shorter. So it's kind of hard to tell since the original one isn't exactly there anymore as a comparison. We've got these lovely waves crashing on the beach. Just listen to that, isn't it amazing? And as you can see, we've got the sand dunes here, and we've got this little platform. Isn't it nice? So we just go up here. We have a little ramp. So I think it's a ramp. It's kind of hard to tell when it's covered with sand. Whee! And the road here is actually been destroyed and washed out a few times. And we actually have chunks of rounded asphalt. Some countries it's actually called asphalt cement. But either way, it's basically a mixture of tar and rock stuck together. And this particular example has been washed away by the erosion in the sea. Just like these pebbles and stones here have been as well. So this sand dune here is actually quite steep, and it's got a mixture of spinifex and our native golden sedge, or I want to pronounce the name, but I really don't think I can, so I can always just plotted in the bottom of the screen here. And we've got these rugged rocky outcrops in front of the famous island of Island Bay. I mean, after all, why would it be called Island Bay if there wasn't an island there? So we just head along. We have here these outcrops of sedimentary rock. And you can see how the various layers have been formed. Whoops, I got my feet wet there. Been formed and eroded and are now home to various small examples of flora and fauna, shall we say. Everything from these tiny little, let's get ourselves back into focus here. Woo! Woo! I got chased off by the wave there. Oh my god! As you can see, Island Bay is right by the Cook Strait. So this explains those roaring tides that come crashing in. Woo! So where were we now? Sedimentary rock, and I don't want to get too close to the seashore to give you a good example of some of the creatures that live here. So we're just going to look at these nice little rock pools instead. And there's actually some better rock pools further along the coast, but I'll stick with these ones for now. So as you can see, we've got different species of algae growing here. The green algae, that's all sea lettuce here by my hand, and I know I probably shouldn't be harassing marine wildlife, but here's some limpets and all these tiny little actually some tiny mussels, as well as this periwinkle with baby periwinkles. And I can show you some better things in a minute. And yes, there's even a lighthouse. Can't get better than that. Just look at that wave coming in and rolling out. I always love, whoops, here's another wave. I always love looking at the different flotation devices of the seaweed. I mean, these are obviously, so the plant stays upright and keeps its shape so it can photosynthesize most effectively from these leaves. I hope you can hear this. These waves just keep coming ashore. Some more different, you know, little flotation devices or buoyancy vessels. And oh, that one didn't make a pop. That was my knuckle. And it's hard to do it with one hand. There we go. Off we go. So you can see these brown seaweeds are quite clearly brown algae. And here is its little foot that it rests on the seabed. As you can see, these little structures here are not true roots. They're actually rhizoids, which is a botanical term for any form of root-like anchoring structure that is not on a higher plant, because then it can't be deemed a true root as such. Now think about these rhizoids, especially on this huge bulk out here, is that they are actually only there to adhere the plant on the surface of a rock. They're not actually present to absorb nutrients. Since seaweeds are just bathed in the ocean around them, they absorb it all through these, you know, huge phallus structure. Because technically these aren't leaves as such. In fact, the seaweed, these brown algae, aren't actually really divided into cells as such, you know, cells as we know them in higher plants and animals. In fact, if you broke this whole thing is just one, you know, huge cavity full of cytoplasm and all the other necessary things for it to grow, you know, and for it to obviously be a living being, you know. But yeah, you just see how huge this anchoring structure is, and you just think how amazing these simple primitive organisms are, because these seaweeds, these brown algae, you know, significantly more primitive than land plants. And it's just amazing, the sheer scale and the fact that bull kelp, yeah, it's one of the fastest growing plants, you know, known in existence, basically. And all of that because, you know, they're bathed in that salty environment, which means, you know, the cell contents are kept in, you know, well, you know, the whole phyla structure, you know, the contents of it are kept in, you know, constant osmotic equilibrium due to the, you know, levels of salts in the sea being similar to the levels of salts inside the cell. We know, you know what I mean. I keep saying cell, and I mean, look, I'm not a scientist, even though I'd like to be one. It'd be pretty cool. So bear with me, you know what I'm saying, but viewer, even if I haven't exactly explained it very well. Anyway, so we continue along. We have boats, and we have that little building out there, which is something, I can't even remember what it is right now. It's maybe Island Bay Marine Education Centre or something. Anyway, it's got lots of little sea creatures, you know, kept alive in there and everything, little tanks and stuff, and it's quite cool. It's like a little, it's got, you know, basically rock pools inside, which is pretty neat in a way. And we have seagulls. Seagulls are cool. As I spend too long looking out to the Island Bay Marine Education Centre and this funny little blue half-submerged boat, I then remember I'm actually a gardening YouTube channel, and I should obviously mention how excellent seaweeds are for your garden! And I don't know why I'm shouting at the camera considering it's right by my mouth. So obviously, since seaweed is a medium rich in nutrients and minerals and all that delicious stuff, especially trace nutrients like iodine, which is also important for humans to have as well, though it's also very toxic to have too much of it. There's always a right balance in life, including nutrients. So obviously, with all the seaweed, if I could take this home, this would be an amazing fertilizer for my garden. But obviously I'm all the way in Wellington and I'm all the way out, you know where, home, and it's somewhat a long journey. And I don't think the trained people would like me carting huge sacks of seaweed home with me. But I might try one day. So obviously, seaweed rots down, releases heaps of nutrients, especially all those trace minerals that can often, you know, it can only be found in plentiful amounts in you know, marine organisms, which obviously, you know, expose to them every second that they're submerged. And obviously, you know, still provide all that nice organic matter as well. And yeah, that's just jolly good stuff. I mean, you know, you should always, if you have a chance, take some seaweed back to your garden, because it's good stuff. And it's brown, especially the brown algae. It's going to be the most common seaweed you're going to find. Obviously there'll be a bit of green algae. There might even be a bit of red algae. And they're still perfectly good for your garden. But the brown algae are the most, you know, the largest, you know, growing, you know, seaweed or algae. And they're also going to be, you know, the largest by volume that you're going to find on the shore generally. And especially Island Bay, I'm just thrilled with how much there is on the beach. It is just amazing. Lucky people who live around here with gardens and are able to take it home. So the take back lesson from all of this is seaweed is good for your garden. And where you can see the seaweed was adhered to the seabed, that is technically not its roots, because seaweed technically doesn't have roots. So I mean, I don't think that's going to exactly be a very useful piece of information in daily life, but it's a bit of fun trivia, and well, it's nice to think of things, you know, as being all nice and trivial, especially when things that seem trivial these days, all this crazy stuff happening, seem to no longer be so trivial. And viewer, you know what I mean, don't you? Flotation bladders for air. This meant you can eat them! Woo! And that is what I'm going to do! And I guess it's time to put this to the test. Obviously, when you're gathering fresh foods from the sea, or hey Moana, you want to make sure that the water you gather it from is not a sludgy, polluted cesspit. So obviously I think Island Bay is quite fresh, all that nice fresh water, seawater coming from the Cook Strait. So I shall get these bladders and eat them. Got a nice salty covering on the outside. Iodine into your diet. Iodized salt is not the only way. Swallow that down. Just a quick little thing. Remember folks, there is no poisonous seaweed in New Zealand. So even if we're not a 100% clean green nation, at least our seaweed is not poisonous. If you're gathering and eating seaweed in other countries, please check local biota to make sure that the species you are eating are not poisonous. Disclaimer, I bear no responsibility for any poisonings related to seaweed consumption, especially overseas. With that being said, enjoy. Rock wall! And over we go! Actually, I can't stop the video there. Look at all this green seaweed! Green algae to be precise. Just look at it! There's heaps! Oh wow! Oh! Oh! And there's even more! Gosh! There's just so much diversity and vitality in the marine environment around here. Yet again, Island Bay is a cool place. And I do like that green algae! Woohoo! And this is why I am not trying out for green algae. Although we wouldn't be needing these marine reserves if we weren't eating fish. So I know, I'm a plant muncher, you've probably heard that line a million times, but I always stand by that one. Plants are all you need to eat to live a nice, healthy and tasty life. And yet again, gardening is an incredibly good way to get your daily dose of plantification, whether that is looking at and identifying plants, whether that is munching plants, or whether that is just interacting with plants. Either way, plants rule, and so do these rock pools. Yet again, isn't that such a great rhyme? So yeah, so I also like to think that we can share our plants too. Like, oops, let's get a good sun angle, good old sun. Like these limpets, they're another plant muncher too. They go along, they nibble off the algae, off the rocks, and have a good num 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 num. And so do the periwinkles, if I can find any. And even if I can't right here, you get the gist. So hopefully I'm not harming any of these little critters while I'm walking across these rocks. I'm always quite careful. But either way, still think it's important to appreciate nature. It's also important to appreciate how tasty plants are. Like this bull kelp that I'm definitely not going to be eating right now. So anyway, I believe that's a quick little tour of this section of Island Bay. And yeah, if you enjoyed this little video, that probably isn't quite so little by the time I've spent all this rambling and talking and saying hello and all that kind of good stuff, then yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and as usual, please like and subscribe, because I like that and I think it's cool. I think my channel is cool. I hope you do too. And yeah, just remember, keep munching those plants and saying hello to them too. Hello!
Hello!
I should actually be saying goodbye, shouldn't I? Goodbye! Boop. Sea glass. One of my favourite man-made marine artefacts. As you can see, it's clearly glass, but the fact the edges have been worn down with the action of the waves and various other different sediments, which, especially if there's sand in the water, well, that acts like sandpaper, and the waves go in and out and it gets magnified and it all gets worn away till you end up with this amazing smooth piece of sea glass. So always keep a lookout for sea glass, because you know, some beaches you'll see it a lot, and other beaches you won't see it so often. So keep your eyes peeled and enjoy these little pieces of anthroponic nature. Actually, I don't think that's a very good term. I'll come up with something else. Man-made items that are reforged in nature. Back over a rock wall, aka stormwater pipe. And by the way, keep an eye out for these, as they're often an indicator of poor water quality. So of course, all that stuff coming off the roads can have all sorts of different pollutants in it. So obviously, a lot of pollutants come off roads. A lot of pollutants come off litter dumped on the footpath. And overall, you don't want to be eating anything right by that, so keep your eyes peeled. Driftwood is an incredibly good sculptural medium, and I suggest you get out on the beach and build things out of driftwood, since I do think they are rather nice. Don't you agree? Just heading off after having had my dose of fresh negative ions straight from the sea. And as you see here, we've got more of Wellington's electric double-decker buses, not that it has many, and up above we have the little charging station. And that little charging station up there, it's quite a recent thing. It was obviously done by regional council here, and apparently it charges the buses extremely quickly using, it does have a contact point there, and yeah, it's a very quick discharge of high volt power or something along the lines of that, and it obviously charges up a bus. I mean, I can't really remember any of the technical specifications right now, but there you have it. That is one of Wellington's electric double-decker buses. No, it's not a double bus, but it is a double bus. And obviously, yes, you can see it is charging up there. And I can hear high-pitched whine coming out of this, obviously due to, you know, the high voltage currents, and I don't think it's ionizing radiation, but you know, even then, I can still hear it. And I'm not sure if you viewers can hear it as well. Obviously I'm waiting for my bus, won't be that much longer, and I feel great after all those fresh marine negative ions. So there we have it, good dose of ozone, all that nice stuff, and yeah, I will roll the finishing clip. And there you have it, the end. Because as you can see, I'm a gardener, though you can't see me right now, and this is supposedly a gardening channel, and what I'm pointing at is clearly not a garden, it's an intersection. So this must be the end of the video. And yet again, thank you for watching, and I won't mention the other stuff because you've already heard it. Thank you.